that the sun shines down its power to all the world and makes the wind blow strong as it will. I wonder how gentle rains can fall upon the land, so lovely earth can stay lovely still. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Energy Week with George Harvey and the amazing Tom Fennell.
In the flesh.
Who insisted that we wear hats because today is, what's today? Halloween. Now, I know you're not watching this on Halloween because it's probably not going to be broadcast before the end of Halloween, but that's okay.
That's why we're wearing the hats.
That's why we're wearing the hats. And I'm going to take my hat off in a minute, so don't be surprised. And by the way, yes, this is a tag for $1 from Hospice, the store for stuff down
They
on.
got a whole collection of stuff for Halloween. I was in there earlier in the week, and I was, boy, this place is crowded.
Yeah.
And it looked like what they did was they took all the junk out of the cellar, put it on the floor for Halloween.
You know what that reminds me of? This is a little tight. I am going to take it off. You know the show The Wizard of Oz?
Yeah.
Okay. Frank Baum, I think was the name of the guy who wrote the Wizard of Oz. Okay. The coat that was worn, I forget the name of the actor, but he was the actor who played the wizard.
Okay.
And he had a coat that came down almost to his knees.
Okay.
And that coat came from Central, the
Central Casting?
Well, I was going to say Central Casting. It was the place where they do the costumes and so forth.
Yeah, okay.
And the actor put his hand into the pocket of the coat at some point during the production, and found a piece of paper, and the piece of paper was a laundry slip that had Frank Baum's address on it.
Oh, no kidding.
And it turns out that they didn't know that it was Frank Baum's coat when they gave it to him for the show, but it was. Well, it's Harvey's third law is the likelihood of something extremely unlikely happening is extremely high. And if you figure,
sometimes it seems that's true.
Actually, you can show mathematically that if you don't specify what it is that's going to be unusual that happens, it's gonna be true. There's always something crazy going on. Speaking of which, something crazy happened, and I only find things that I look for normally. That's not a surprise, and I look at hundreds of article titles every day. But there was something that happened this week that I would have put on if I had found it, but I didn't until this morning. So I missed it altogether. It was about 5 days ago. You might not have heard about this. I think most people didn't hear about this, but Israel got hit by a hurricane.
I didn't hear about it at all.
Israel
got hit? That's unusual.
Unusual.
It's like Ireland.
Ireland's
even less likely than Ireland. Ireland just got hit by a hurricane.
I know. Yeah. It's been hit. It had one hit it head on, and then it had another that passed by close and went north. And there's never been a hurricane in the Mediterranean before.
I hadn't heard of it.
Never happened. And
don't ever remember
we're talking about history here, okay? How far back does the history of Ireland go? I don't know.
Pretty far.
Pretty far, yeah. What's pretty far?
At least 2,000 years.
Okay, let's just say 2,000 years. How far back does the history of the area around Israel go?
Probably about 10,000 years.
And there's nothing about hurricanes in history. Weather has got weird, and it's getting weirder.
Duh.
Okay, I'm going to appeal to everybody.
Men walking around on the moon.
Yeah, I'm going to appeal to everybody to give us money. Go to BrattleboroTV.org and go down to the bottom of the page. Go down to the bottom of the page and click on the thing that says support local broadcasting.
See if I can't put you up here.
Tell them
all over again.
Huh? No, I'll just keep going. Put on the page, click on the thing that says support local broadcasting. You can give by PayPal or by a credit card, and you can specify not below when you put in the amount. about that far down, is a thing that says that you can put in comments and just say that this is for support of Energy Week. We still haven't got our year's required $480. So.
We get any more since last week?
No. No, you know, we're not exactly pushing this very hard. I want to escape that whole thing, so we'll just go straight to the news. Anyway,
We're going to have a pledge drive.
Yes. Anyway, every day I go to the internet. I look for news on energy and climate change, and I, as I said, typically look at several hundred headlines, and I find 10 to 15 items that I think are interesting. Usually 15. On weekends, sometimes things are a little slow, and I put those together. Each one synopsis with about 50 or 55 words with a link to the original article, and I put those together into a post that goes on my blog, which is called geoharvey.com, geoharvey.com, and Tom and I take the 20 or 21 that are the most interesting out of that and talk about them on Thursday mornings on this show.
And what I usually say about this time is that some of these articles that we discuss are well worth reading.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And they have very interesting, sometimes it's just interesting films or interesting pictures. And I'll try and alert you to some of them. Yeah. Obviously I've read them all.
Yep.
And some of them are fun. You know,
some of them are fun.
I'll try and alert you to.
Yeah. Some of them are scary.
Yeah,
that's right.
Too.
Let's put up I've got a picture there that you could put up.
Yeah, we do. Looks
we're
like
starting,
a wind turbine to me.
It does, a little bit like a wind turbine. We're starting on Thursday, the 24th of October, which is a week ago today being the 30th. And is that correct? Today is the 31st, I'm sorry.
Today's 31, yeah.
And we've got an
Halloween,
item.
all day.
All day, okay. And we've got an item from Renews.
Ørsted and Equinor, Inc., New York Offshore Power Pact.
Ørsted and Equinor have signed power purchase agreements with the State of New York Energy Research and Development Authority, which is what's called NYSERDA, for an 880 megawatt Sunrise Wind and 816 megawatt Empire Wind projects, respectively.
They're not terribly big, but they're they're getting there.
Well, between the two of them, we're talking about almost 1,700 megawatts. That's a lot.
Well, considering
this is
their first.
You're going to get more electricity out of this than Vermont Yankee was producing.
Oh yeah, about 3 times.
Well, it's going to be a lower capacity factor.
Yeah.
Siemens Gamesa 8 megawatt turbines are set to be used at the wind farms. 8 megawatts is pretty big.
That's significant. There's only one of them that's bigger. That's the GE that we talked about.
I think there's another one that's 10. I can't remember who it is.
Yeah,
they sneak these things in. People sneak wind turbines around. Wind turbines that are big enough that you could.
Well, an 8 megawatt's pretty decent sized turbine.
It's a decent sized turbine. Yeah. You got more on that, Tom?
Yeah, I got a quick one. Sunrise, which is one of the projects, will construct an operations and maintenance hub in Long Island.
Right.
So this is an indication that finally the eastern states are getting in on the act.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a tremendous amount of power potential there, and up until now it's almost undisturbed.
Now, do we have an item coming up? I think we do, about a battery in Queens.
We do.
Yeah.
Ravenswood, yep.
This is going to be feeding that battery.
Well, that makes sense.
I mean, not necessarily.
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah, but it will be whatever surplus power that is popping up wherever it's coming from.
Right.
Is going into that battery, which, by the way, is a very large battery.
It's a big, big battery.
Little sideline here. I was watching the movie Rain Man.
Yes.
Ever seen that one?
I have not seen it, but I've heard a lot about it.
Interesting story.
Yeah.
This guy, he's not quite all there.
Yeah.
But he can do tremendous mathematical projects in his head.
Yeah.
And one of the things they do is they go to Vegas and they practically break the bank.
Yes.
Because he can remember every card that's gone on the table,
Yeah.
Anyhow, so that was what. why it came to mind was in this show, Rain Man,
Yes.
which was filmed 30 years ago.
Yes.
They show a picture of a wind farm in California.
Oh.
It's a very large wind farm.
Yes.
30 years ago.
Yes.
So they had
Yeah.
something going. You know, compared to today, they're small turbines.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a lot of them.
Yeah, that was, I forget the name of that farm, but they're actually taking those out and replacing them with bigger
Oh,
turbines.
it's been done already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been done already.
Because those turbines were actually killing a fair number of birds, and the bigger turbines are mounted higher, and
Well, they were the old-fashioned turbines on lattice work.
lattice work.
towers,
The
yeah.
birds would nest on the
Yeah.
lattice. So yeah, the newer ones don't have that problem. Okay,
Let's move on here.
we have an item from CNN.
Yes, it is from CNN. Justice Department sues California over air pollution agreement with Canada. This is kind of interesting. It's a political vendetta.
You know, I
going
could
on.
see this coming. The U.S. Justice Department sued California, claiming that an environmental agreement the state entered with the Canadian province of Quebec to combat air pollution was illegal because it amounted to a treaty or compact between a U.S. state and a foreign power.
Trump is trying his best. I tell you, he wants his he wants his deal, and California had more stringent air restrictions.
Right.
And he wants to throw them out.
Yes.
For safety reasons.
For safety reasons. And
Well,
by
there
the-
is logic to that.
Yes.
This means the new cars will be cheaper than they would have been.
Well-
therefore, more people will be buying them. Therefore, they're safer.
Not sure about that.
Well, that's his logic.
Well, one of the things that I saw about those new cars is that they will not be cheaper. They'll be more expensive.
Well,
And part of the reason for that is because they'll use more fuel. So they'll be more expensive.
He was thinking about the purchase price.
I know that.
Yeah. But yeah, they're going to be using more fuel.
They're gonna use over their lifetime something like $3,000 or $4,000 more fuel typically.
Well, there's a good video here.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's about Trump revoking California's right to set auto emission standards.
I wonder where all this is going to go when he's not in office.
That could be pretty soon. I don't think he's going to get thrown out of office, but I think
Honestly,
he's going to get impeached.
I think he is going to be thrown out of
Well, the
office.
Republicans, if they get embarrassed enough, they'll throw him out.
I don't think they have to be embarrassed.
Well, they might not.
I think they.
You mean just be honest?
I think some of them are going to say, honestly, we shouldn't have a person who does these kinds of things. And some of them are going to say, this guy is wackadoodle and dangerous.
Well,
and then there's going to be
some
some
of them
of
are
them
scared.
Some of them are
They
going to
might
say,
not-
this guy is the best president we've ever had.
They might lose on his coattails.
Yeah. I think a lot of them know that. But I noticed
That's my point.
I noticed that Mitch McConnell is not saying we're just going to throw this whole thing out.
He's not, huh?
No, he said we have a job to do here, and we're going to look at the whole thing. I'm not quoting him, but that's essentially what he said. Okay, should we move on?
Yeah, let's move on. a
Okay,
little
we've
bit
got
here.
an item here also from CNN. We've got a picture of a gas flare, if you want to put it up.
Yeah, let me throw that up. Let me see if I can't find that.
There it
there I
is.
think it is, and there I think it is.
There you go.
Looks like a gas flare to me.
It looks like a gas flare to me.
Air quality in the U.S. getting worse and could be killing thousands, a study finds.
After improving for the better part of a decade, air quality in the United States is getting worse again. It could be associated with nearly 10,000 premature deaths and billions of dollars in damages, according to a working paper with new analysis
We've been
of
talking about
EPA
that same
data.
thing right here on this show.
You know, there's no need for this. There's no need for reducing the air quality standards. And if people are dying, I'm going to tell you, I think that's manslaughter. And because it is being done with indifference to human life, it could be elevated to murder.
It could be considered murder. More, how would you say it, with less evidence than that, people have been indicted and convicted.
I guess.
Well, there's
no
a
evidence at all in some cases.
quick takeaway here.
Yeah.
They're talking about, in this case, fine particulate matter coming
Yes.
from combustion.
Combustion.
Okay.
Right.
Fine particulate matter in the air fell 24% between 2009 and 2016.
That's
But
only 8 years.
concentrations have increased in the last 2 years.
Right.
Okay, increasing wildfires,
Yeah.
and less strict enforcement of EPA clean air regulations. So they're throwing some of these clean air regulations out, and they're getting punished for it.
Well, the people who are getting punished are ordinary individuals. And, you know, people move to Vermont because it's got fresh air.
Yeah.
And the fresh air in Vermont is killing people because of these particulates wafting in from
Coming in from Ohio.
and places like that. Okay, we're up to Friday, October 25th, with an item from BBC.
Yeah, this is an interesting article, too. Wheels of Fortune, a new age for electric motors?
You know, Tom, I got to tell you, I think just you're saying this is interesting is a huge understatement.
This is very interesting.
It's very interesting.
This is one, if you're interested in motors, they got a picture of one of these new motors. Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Motors are about to get much more attention from the media, according to the head of technology trends at Advanced Propulsion Center, a joint venture of the automotive industry and the UK government. This is because they are the key components of EVs, and they're changing fast. And boy, I was astonished.
There's a lot of pictures in this article.
Well, you know, I used to operate big machines.
Yeah.
I'm talking about machines that had like 10 horsepower electric motors. 10 horsepower electric motor, about that long and about this big around. I got a in 2002, I got a Prius. 2001, I got a Prius, and I was astonished to discover that this little thing that was about the size of a grapefruit can was a 35 horsepower motor.
Yeah.
And that, I just thought, wow, what can you do? These people are talking about motors that are incredibly powerful compared to that, given the size and weight.
There are some really good pictures in there, and the first thing it talks about, some companies are working on a radical redesign.
Yes.
Placing the motors in the wheels themselves. Well, radical redesign? You've ever heard of Dr. Ferdinand Porsche?
I think I've heard of him, yes.
He created an electric car in 1910. It had the wheels and the motors.
I'm not surprised. Porsche was a little ahead of its time.
Well, in-wheel motors are more efficient, improve handling, lower the overall center of gravity, and help to optimize weight distribution.
And you know,
I mean, it's a natural.
If you think about it, one of the things that you see if you're behind a truck or something like that, where you can see what's going on underneath the vehicle, is the differential.
Yeah.
And the differential is just so the wheel on the right side and the wheel on the left side are not necessarily
working against each other.
Yeah, because when a car or a truck turns a corner, the wheel on the outside has to go a greater distance
than the one on the inside.
Right, so you've got to make up for that, which produces all kinds of problems.
But here with the wheels and the motors, they're all independent, and the way they designed them, as you can see in the picture. They're compact. I mean,
they're compact.
These are tiny.
They're
for all
tiny.
intents and purposes, these are tiny
They're
motors.
They're tiny, but very, very powerful.
What their power is.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, there's a quick takeaway here.
Okay.
10 years from now, it will be unrecognizable from what you see today. They're talking about cars.
Yes.
And not in how it looks, but in what it does. Okay.
Yes.
And we'll be talking about it again later, but the electric car is inevitable.
Yes. Now we have another picture.
Another picture coming up.
This is an interesting picture. We have indeed, and this is from BBC.
This is the Polarstern, and it's the problem that we've looked at this before twice, I think.
Yes.
But we haven't looked at it from this particular viewpoint, which is the problem of thinning Arctic sea ice.
After spending considerable time finding Arctic ice thick enough to be safe to work on at 85 degrees north latitude, Polarstern is finally moored to an ice floe, which they got moored by ramming the ice floe. They couldn't just pull up next to it. After, over the coming days, the team will begin setting up an ice camp around Polarstern, carefully putting out equipment that the ice can support.
This is a long and interesting article.
It's fascinating.
There's a lot of pictures
it's got
in
a lot of good pictures.
There's one great picture of some bears, some polar bears, and they're just playing with a flag, but it looks like they're erecting it.
Yes,
it looks
it
like
does.
The Marines
or pulling it down.
Well, there's a quick takeaway here. This is called the Mosaic Expedition.
Yes.
Okay? It's the largest ever scientific voyage to the Central Arctic. So that's a big deal.
Well,
They're going to spend the next year there
yeah.
measuring the atmosphere, the ice ocean, biogeochemistry, that's a new word,
Yes.
and the ecosystem. So this is serious.
It's serious, and that this thing that they're doing is big enough that they've actually got schools on this vessel for K through 12.
Well, they're going to be
They've
there
got
for
a
a year.
kindergarten class on this thing.
Oh yeah, and there's a picture of yoga.
Yoga.
They're
that's
doing
right.
yoga there.
They're doing yoga. Okay, should
Let's
we
move
go
on? Yeah, we
All
got
right.
another one coming up here.
We have an item from Clean Technica.
It is Clean Technica.
And I accidentally went to the next picture, so you'd better put
Well,
us up.
I got you anyhow.
Okay.
HeHang,
Yes.
that's a company, is about to make aviation history with the first eVTOL, electric vertical takeoff and landing
Right.
service coming in December.
This article made me mad.
Why?
Well, I'll read this. HeHang is readying the launch of the very first eVTOL urban air mobility service in Guangzhou, China.
Yeah.
This December, HeHang wants to become a full stack UAM, which is urban air mobility solution,
mobility, right.
and will most likely be the first eVTOL aircraft operator in service. Why is this not happening in the United States? We lead the world with our science.
Well, it is, but they're a little bit slow.
Who's a little bit slow?
Well, they're actually Canadians. We'll be
what I'm
talking
saying
about
is
them later.
the Chinese are putting stuff together and making it work that the Americans aren't even working on.
Yeah.
And it is infuriating.
But they're a communist country, you know.
Yeah, right. I don't know how many communists there have been in China, but
17, I counted them.
Okay. I used to say, when Mao Zedong was still alive,
Yeah.
I used to say, China is the most capitalist country in the world. It's just that it doesn't look like that from the outside. And I had
That's a good way of looking at it.
I had a friend who went to China at the end of that time and spent a year there teaching English or something like that, and came back and said, absolutely, you're right. They're not communist. They are capitalist.
Yeah,
And they're
interesting.
centered around
Under
making
the
a lot
guise of communism.
Yeah. And
Well-
now they don't even make any bones about it. They call themselves communist, and they're just, what's communist? Nothing.
They're very capitalist.
The only thing that's communist is the army. Okay.
Well, it's HeHang 216 autonomous aerial vehicles. Very interesting.
Yes, it is.
They look like a helicopter with 8 rotors.
Yeah.
And they go up and down, you know, perfectly straight.
Yep.
This is kind of interesting.
Yep.
There's a nice pictures there
Yes.
on this site. And there's a 3-minute video that's worth watching. It shows you these things going up and down.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's worth watching, but because that's all they do is go up and
All
down.
they do is go up and down. Our next item here comes from Stanford University Press.
Stanford study casts doubt on carbon capture.
Research by Mark Z. Jacobson at Stanford University, published in Energy and Environmental Science, suggests that carbon capture can cause more harm than good. Jacobson said carbon capture only reduces, quote, a small fraction of carbon emissions, and it usually increases air pollution, end quote.
Yeah, he goes into that, and it's interesting.
It is.
Carbon capture technologies can cause more harm than good.
Yeah.
And he goes into it. Current approaches to carbon capture can increase overall air pollution and are not efficient at reducing carbon in the atmosphere. And he goes into that. He describes how that's working. Counting upstream emissions, carbon capture technologies capture the equivalent of only 10 to 11% of the emissions. Not even worth doing.
Yeah.
And what will they do with the captured carbon? That question is left
an
unanswered.
absolutely valid question.
The best solution is to focus on renewable options replacing fossil fuels.
And
Duh.
you want to capture carbon, plant trees.
Plant trees, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got a picture here.
Yeah, we do.
Do you have more on that, or
No, that's all I had from that one.
okay? My computer here.
It is a good article, though. It's worth reading.
It is a very good article, and it's very worth reading. And we are.
Well, we got
where
a
are
picture
we?
coming up here.
We have a picture of renewable energy.
I think we.
This is from
I
PV
think-
Magazine
I think
Australia, and that picture. Why don't you put the picture up?
I'm trying to. Where did it go? Where's my mouse?
We're in an era of funny things.
There's
the mouse.
There's my mouse.
How did that happen?
I think it just went to sleep.
Yeah. This is a picture that I think we've probably used at least once before on the show, but I don't remember. I tried looking.
After a while, they all seem to look alike.
I looked to see if I had used this, and I couldn't find any record
good
of
picture.
it. So yeah, it's good. It's an interesting picture. I know there have been pictures that look like this. But
Well,
they might have been
it's
different ones.
solar and wind in the same location.
Yeah,
Which is happening.
yeah.
Well, it's about Australia, and interesting things are happening in Australia, energy-wise.
Many.
It's going to be the new Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I think it could be.
It's not going to be oil. It's going to be about hydrogen.
Yeah. What do you got for title?
Australia's pipeline of renewable energy projects swells to over 130 gigawatts.
I read that and
Whenever
I
you
thought-
see a gigawatt,
I
you
read
know
that-
there's a lot.
I read that and I thought 130 gigawatts.
That's a lot.
This has got to be a typo. They must mean 13. No, it's
No, they
130.
mean 133 to be exact. Well, you're going to tell us that.
Australia's pipeline of grid-scale solar, wind, and battery projects, and it's important that this is grid-scale because they've got a huge amount of rooftop solar.
Yeah. No, this is the big guys.
This is the big guys, is growing in an unprecedented rate in 2019. According to Rystad Energy, a consultant company based in Norway, it now stands at 133 gigawatts, up from 94 gigawatts at the start of the year.
Well, here it is in a nutshell. The country is seeking to establish itself as a major exporter of hydrogen produced from wind and solar.
Yeah.
That's what exactly this is about.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
want to create a hydrogen economy, really, for themselves.
Right.
They got the resources.
I'm a little bit skeptical of all of this because a lot of this could be done anywhere.
Oh, you're right there, but Australia has a good setup. They've got
a
warm
good setup.
temperatures, plenty of sun.
Yeah, I could see
plenty
how
of wind.
they could export to Singapore, and they could
They're
export.
doing it now,
Yeah,
or planning to.
They could export to Japan.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how. I'm sure they would export elsewhere, but I'm not sure how broad that exporting can be.
They're
On
not
the
going
other
to be
hand,
able to export a lot of electricity by wire.
yeah.
They're going to have to do something with it, and they've chosen to make hydrogen.
Well, the other thing is that hydrogen's got a lot of uses besides being burned or whatever for
It does
yeah.
that.
So they could become a chemical giant based on that.
Well, further growth in renewables is expected from the electrification of existing facilities using liquid natural gas. So that's another step they're taking.
Yes.
Okay? Australia's solar and wind deployment is 10 times faster per capita than the world average. So they're going to work on this stuff.
Yep.
Australia's renewables boom could see coal-fired generation extinct by 2040. I wouldn't bet against that.
I'd bet that
I
it
would
would happen
not.
before 2040. Okay, we're up to Sunday, October 27th.
Well, there's a quick takeaway
Oh,
there.
go ahead, Tom, I'm
On
sorry.
this article is related content, where
Yeah.
they show other things that are
Yeah.
talking about the same story.
Yeah.
There's 4 out of the 6 items that they mentioned are all related to hydrogen.
Yes. This is one thing that I've been noting in the last few weeks is there's more and more stories about hydrogen.
A year ago, nobody even knew what it was.
You and I knew what it was.
Sunday,
Okay.
October 27th.
I was just
right?
about to say that. This is an item from KUOW News and Information.
Rising waters bring tough choice. Fight or flight?
Fight
Wow.
or flight, that's the dilemma people living at the water's edge face in a hotter climate. As a hotter climate pushes Puget Sound and nearby rivers higher, fleeing to higher, drier ground can be wrenching, while digging in and trying to hold the waters back can be costly or even dangerous.
Well, here they're talking about Washington, but they could be talking about a lot of places.
Any place with coast and a lot of
Absolutely,
places
absolutely.
on big rivers.
Well, with sea level rise, whatever's on a low-lying shoreline could be swallowed by the sea.
Yep.
But a new marsh, this is interesting, full of fast-growing plants, has been more than holding its own against rising tides. And we've talked about that too. An alternative to planting trees is planting marshes,
Yes.
okay? Especially if you got salt water like the Emirates and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Sediments get captured and build up the soil. So the sea level rises, the marshes rise, and it can keep pace with the rate of sea level rise.
Isn't that
and you
amazing?
always have a coastal marsh. That sounds like a win-win situation.
It sure does. Okay, our next item is from NB News
No,
24.
this is not good news. We've got a picture
No, it's
coming
not
up
good
here.
news, and this was an item which this is the one that
Very timely.
used to be on. When I put it up,
Yeah.
it was on BBC, and then it disappeared.
Yep.
So Tom found it in another site. Go ahead, Tom.
Kincaid Fire, that's what they're calling it. Mass blackout begins again amid California wildfires.
In California, power cuts expected to affect more than 2 million people have begun as fires in the state continue to grow. Pacific Gas and Electric initiated a precautionary blackout due to forecasts of extreme winds. It is expected to be the largest in the state's history.
I think this Kincaid fire just started like last Monday.
Yeah.
It hasn't been going
And
long.
and there's now
And
there's
it's huge already.
now there's 12 fires.
12 fires.
Yeah,
Wow.
and the area of California, we're going to talk about this next week because it just came in today. But the area in California that is considered dangerous is about half the state.
Well, there's two areas that are really big. One is near San Francisco.
Yep.
The other one's near Los Angeles.
Yep.
And it's already encroaching on the city of Los Angeles.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Well, the Kincaid fire, which, like I said, almost just started, it's already burned 25,000 acres.
Yes.
That was as of this writing.
Yes.
It's more than that. Some 90,000 individuals have been ordered to evacuate.
Yes, it's up
Okay.
to 200,000 now.
I bet it is. A state of emergency has been declared in Los Angeles and Sonoma counties, and thousands of firefighters are battling the blazes.
Yeah,
This
just-
is big time bad news.
It's terrible, but leave the picture up just for a second. I want to point something out here. You'll notice that the grass and the other stuff on the ground is burning here, but the trees in general are not. And
yeah.
this is one of the
Brush is
things that
burning.
can happen with these fires is that you can have a fire go through, the brush burns, and it burns so fast that the trees
trees
above
don't get fired,
don't
don't
catch
catch fire.
on fire. So the forest isn't killed. It's just that the brush burns. So
It's still bad news, but not as bad as
yeah,
it could be.
exactly. Especially if you happen to be a field mouse or something like that. But the situation here is not that the whole state is burning down, but it's like it's just and it isn't even fire season.
Well, L.A. and San Francisco are like 400 miles apart.
Yes,
This is statewide, basically.
right,
Now it is, anyhow.
right. We have to move quickly now, Tom,
Yeah,
because we've got about. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm miscalculating because we
closed
had
that
a.
down for a while.
We
So
had
we're
a,
on time. I
Yeah,
think.
we're on time. Okay.
Chuck Schumer
Yeah.
has a plan to boost electric car sales. What do you think it is? Massive rebates.
Yeah, this is from Clean Technica. Chuck Schumer has a plan to offer consumers large rebates if they switch from gasoline-powered car to an electric-powered car. The catch is that the cars purchased have to be assembled in the U.S. by American workers using predominantly U.S.-made parts. I don't think that's a catch.
Well, when he's talking about the future, because these are electric cars.
Yeah, I know.
And right now, there's not too many electric cars
And,
being
you know,
made in
GM
America at all.
GM is weighing in on this suit against California by the federal government on
They're
the
on
side of the
California's
federal.
side.
They're on no. Ford is on California's side, but
Oh,
GM is on
against- oh,
on
okay, they're
Donald
fighting
Trump's
each other.
side, and GM is suffering because they haven't quite been keeping up with. I don't know.
Well, they're going to suffer because the move is toward electric. I mean,
The move is toward
we'll
electric.
talk about that. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
Well, this is an interesting fact I found out. What cars are currently made in America by Americans? These are gas powered.
100%.
Yeah.
None.
Well, no, there's 8.
Oh, are there?
You ready for them?
Yes, please.
Toyota Camry. Honda Accord. Toyota Sienna. Honda Odyssey. Honda Pilot. And Chevrolet Traverse and GMC Acadia, which are the same car.
Yes, and they're both
Okay.
cars that I've never heard of.
SUVs.
No, they're SUVs.
They're brand new.
Okay.
And finally, the Buick Enclave, which I think is also the same car. But they're
man.
all using foreign parts, and none of them are electric.
Yeah.
And then there's Tesla.
And then there's Tesla.
which we'll talk about. A
Oh,
lot
man.
of things are going to have to change.
Yes, they're going to have to change. We're up to Monday.
Monday, October 28th.
28th, with an item from Clean
Got a picture
Technica and
coming
a
up
picture.
here.
There is the picture.
There's the picture.
You don't have to put it up,
Came
Tom.
right
It just
up.
came up by itself.
How about that?
How about that?
This is an interesting article.
Yes.
Why is Tesla now the most valuable American automaker? Huh?
I cannot speak for the rest of the I cannot speak for the rest of the 58.78 billion market cap of Tesla, but from my perspective, this is
The writer.
Zach Sheehan writing. As a tiny shareholder who covered Tesla professionally for several years, I've got a few thoughts on why Tesla has become the most valuable American car maker. Okay, what's valuable here? Valuable is the market capitalization.
Well,
And that-
he's got 10 reasons why it's more valuable. And
Yes.
I'm not going to bore anybody with
Well,
reading all 10.
but I want to
But
explain.
the first one's important.
Okay, go ahead.
There is no stopping the transportation trend toward electrification.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Man.
That says it all.
Yeah.
The other things go along with that, but that's key.
What people have to understand here is the term market capitalization, market cap. Tesla has a market cap of $58.78 billion.
What does that mean?
It means that if you take all of the Tesla stock, the number of shares, and you multiply that times the price per share, you get the
Okay.
value of the company
The
in the stock
value of
market.
the stock.
And if you do that with Tesla, GM, and Ford, Tesla is the one that is the biggest.
By a lot?
I don't know, but this is not the first time this has happened.
Uh-huh.
So,
Well, I think what we're seeing with General Motors and also with Ford is that they have so much invested in the equipment to make gas-powered cars that they're very reluctant to give it up.
oh yeah,
And-
it's like I have $1 billion worth of coal in this hole in the ground. I don't want to give that up.
Right.
It's all the same
the
thing.
same kind of thing.
It's stranded
kind of
assets.
thinking.
They've got stranded assets for things that make internal combustion engines. They don't want to give it up. Okay, our next item is from News World Korea.
So this is about Korea.
It is about Korea.
It's interesting.
It is.
Up to 27 coal-burning power plants to suspend operation to reduce fine dust.
The South Korean government decided to suspend operations of up to 27 coal-fired power plants during the period of December through March, when high-density fine dust usually blankets the country.
Which comes from the power plants.
It comes from the power plants, but this dust is, a lot of it is kicked up from handling coal, not burning coal, just handling coal.
Yes,
The
yes.
plan is also to ban old cars from the streets during
How
the
can
period.
they do that? The core of the measures is aimed at controlling the fine dust produced by industry, power plants, and transportation. The measures will ultimately require boosting the electricity bills by $1 a month. That's not
Horrible.
bad.
Man. Okay.
So we got another picture coming up
We
here.
do indeed. We have a picture of wreckage.
That doesn't look very good.
This is from
That
the
doesn't
city.
look good at all.
This is from
Hurricane Sandy did that.
some time ago.
Flirting with disaster. Flood zones still uninsured years after Sandy.
That is not good. 7 years after Superstorm Sandy deluged New York City, more than 8 out of 10 properties in coastal areas the federal government deems extremely vulnerable to the next disaster are without flood insurance. An investigation by the city found. The city
Reading
is all
into this
caps here.
article, they don't know what they're doing.
Who doesn't know?
The insurers, the federal insurance program for floods.
The 2004 Flood Insurance Reform Act says
Mm-hmm.
that if you have collected money for floods twice in the
You
same
can't
10-year
collect
period,
again.
you can't get it
Can't get
again.
insurance.
So a lot of these properties, or at least
get
some
insurance.
of them, cannot get
Can't even
insurance,
get it.
period. They
and
cannot.
those that can are paying a lot of money for it.
Yes. Well, I should say it's not that they can't get insurance. They can get insurance, but they have to pay, as you said, a lot of money. They can't get federally guaranteed insurance. And
Okay.
so, you
So they're
know,
going on in the open market and they're paying about $5,000 a year for insurance or more.
unbelievable. You know, why would anybody own a place like that? Well,
Because they like the ocean.
there's only one reason to own a property that is prone to flooding, and that's because you're in love with that property.
Yeah.
Because there's the defenses you need about flooding are just amazing.
There's an interesting catch-22.
Yeah.
If you got a government-backed mortgage, you must purchase insurance.
Right.
And if you can't buy it through the NFIP program, you're paying a lot of money.
A lot of money. Yeah,
Absolutely.
a lot of money. Okay, we are up to
Up
Tuesday.
to Tuesday. Already?
October 29th.
This is an interesting one. This is an interesting
From
one.
Clean Technica, and this is something we referred
We
to
talked
when we
about
were
it
talking about
before.
offshore wind turbines earlier in the show.
This is the world's largest storage battery. Okay, it's the 25 gigawatt hours. So whenever you see that G, you know it's big.
2.5.
2.5
yeah.
to replace gas peaker plants in Queens.
A site in Queens, New York, once was the home to 16 gas-powered peaker plants. Only 2 remain in operation today. Soon, all of them will be demolished to make room for a 316 megawatt, 2,528 megawatt hour storage battery that will be the largest in the world. And you know, basically, the 2 peaker plants that are there now belong to the company that's going to build the battery.
Well, technically you are right, but who is this company? You know, I mean, because that Ravenswood plant
Yeah.
has been there all of my life.
Yes.
I can remember seeing it driving on the East River.
Yes.
I think Tom Edison built it. No, I'm not joking.
I know you're not.
I'm not joking. I think he built the first Ravenswood plant.
Yeah.
And for all of my life, that's been a generating station.
Right. And it's interesting to me that the 2 peaker plants that are there now that are going to be torn down, that
Yeah.
are in operation,
Well, they had about 12 there at one time.
16, this says, but
Okay.
they have a capacity of 316 megawatts, which is exactly the same capacity as the batteries that are going to go in there.
Okay, that's interesting.
And, you know,
So there's room for more batteries. There's definitely room for more
well, there
batteries.
may be room for more batteries. I don't know if the transmission structure around there would hold more than 316 megawatts.
That might be the limit.
You know, this is a lot of power, of energy, 2,528 megawatt hours for the power that you've got, which is 316 megawatts. And
Well, it's 10% of the whole state's goal.
this is a lot of, this is big. All right. Yeah, I think that kind of says it all.
Well, it's another interesting thing. It will be one of the first in the world to offer 8 hours of storage.
Yes,
That's big.
yes. Okay, should we go
Yeah,
on?
we got a picture coming up here.
We
Got another
do
picture
indeed.
here. And the picture's up already.
The
How about
picture's
that?
up already. Okay, this is from Renews.
And that's a tender vessel, isn't it?
It is.
Offshore wind costs dropped 32%. So there's the bit.
Talk about blowing me away.
There's the edge of a turbine there.
That is the
and
edge of a
the
turbine,
repair vessel or the tender vessel.
tender vessel, and there's a gangplank going from the tender vessel to the turbine mast.
And there's a man on
And
it.
there's a man on it. That little bitty thing in the middle of that gangplank is a man.
So it gives you some idea of the scale of this.
Yeah, it does. You know, those masts are so big that if you put floors in them and adequate insulation, you could probably have a dozen
live in
families
there.
living
Yeah,
in there.
right.
Okay. Offshore wind costs have fallen 32% from just 1 year ago and 12% compared to the first half of 2019, according to new research from Bloomberg NEF, which is New Energy Finance. It is in its latest levelized cost of electricity update. Bloomberg NEF said its current global benchmark estimate for offshore wind is $78 per megawatt hour.
Well, what the article has said that wind projects have already reached parity with average wholesale power prices in some locations.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that already.
Yeah.
Mainly, this is interesting, I didn't know this, due to a fall in the price of turbines.
Yes,
Okay, they're getting bigger.
They're getting bigger.
better.
They're
and they're
getting
getting cheaper.
cheaper. And what's $78 per megawatt hour is 7.8 cents
a
per
good
kilowatt
price.
hour, which
That's
is
a good price.
a good wholesale price. It's about half the price of the power from a new nuclear power plant.
Is it half the price? Wow.
Yeah.
How can they sell it if they're paying $15, 15 cents a kilowatt hour?
How can they sell the,
The power to a consumer.
you mean from a nuclear plant?
Yeah.
By having it subsidized.
Bingo.
Again, it's a matter of taking.
Duh.
If you can't get enough money out of the power bill, you take it from the taxpayer, and then of course, where does it go? It's like you said earlier, into the pockets of the rich.
The takeaway from here is that the thermal power plants will eventually be relegated to a balancing role.
Yes.
Generating when the sun doesn't shine or the wind doesn't blow.
Yep.
Okay, and that makes sense. Why pay for the energy? Why pay for the fuel when you get it from the sun?
Absolutely. That was from Renews. Our next one is from BBC.
And we're back to where we were
Why don't you
early
put
on.
us up? The people are getting tired of watching all the pictures.
Put us up.
There you go.
There we go. The picture's still in the background.
Yeah, it is.
California faces huge power cuts as wildfires rage. Didn't
This
we
is
just talk
just an
about
update from the last thing. An estimated 1.5 million people, more people are in California are set to lose power on Tuesday, which is when we're talking about, as PG&E tries to stop damaged cables triggering wildfires. Earlier, PG&E had to cut supplies to 970,000 customers. It has just added another 650,000 to that figure due to high winds.
Well, there's a couple of short videos in this article that
Yeah.
are worth looking at. You're
Yep.
going to see the fire, but it's not good to see. They mention Arnold Schwarzenegger, who has been relocated. He's not
Yes.
too happy about it.
Well, he said, if you're told to get out of there, get out
Get
of there.
out. That's exactly what
Yeah.
he said. There are fears that the flames could enter areas that have not seen wildfires since the 1940s. I think that's
Wow.
happening already.
I think it is.
And here's what, this is a note to me. Celebrities including Schwarzenegger and basketball star LeBron James are among those who have fled.
Yeah. Okay, our next item is from Forbes.
And we got a picture.
Do we? Yes, we do.
We do.
There we
Yeah.
go.
And there's
That's a
the
funny picture.
Well, it is because it's got wind, it's got solar, and it's got storage.
Yeah.
Huge battery investments drop energy storage costs faster than expected and threatening natural gas.
Notice that coal has been basically killed by natural gas and renewables. Now the
Now
renewables.
natural gas is getting scary.
Absolutely. The global energy transition is happening faster than models predicted, according to a report released today by the Rocky Mountain Institute, thanks to massive investments in the advanced battery technology ecosystem. And I have to say, I think the reason why those investments have come is because that bet that Elon Musk made, I think that was a publicity coup. He pulled that stunt of saying, I'm going to give you a battery that's going to make a difference to you, and if I can't get it in 100 days, you get it for free.
You get it for free. That was quick.
Really,
That was
yeah.
Slick.
Now, before that time, I saw batteries that were like 1 and 2 megawatts. After that time, we're like this battery today. We're talking about 300 and some odd megawatts, 2,500 and some megawatt hours. This is big, and here it is. Forbes is saying that's the effect.
Well, there's a graph in this article about the global cumulative energy storage installations.
Yes.
And it's rising like an exponent.
Unbelievable.
It's just going up.
Yep. Okay, we are up to Wednesday, October 3rd.
Already?
We've got about 6 minutes to do.
Well, we only got 2 articles, this one. This one's short.
Yeah, you're right. I thought there were 3.
But we
there were
did
2.
4 on the other one.
Tuesday was 4 articles. This is from CNN.
Yeah, this is interesting because we talked about this guy.
Yeah.
America's largest private coal miner files for bankruptcy. Wow.
The slow death of the coal industry has forced Murray Energy, the country's largest private coal miner, to file for bankruptcy protection. Murray Energy and its subsidiaries own 17 active mines in Alabama, Illinois, Kentucky, Ohio, Utah, and West Virginia, and they employ 7,000 workers. And I almost feel sorry for Robert Murray here because he's been trying and trying and trying to keep those mines open, keep the
absolutely.
workers
Stranded
working,
assets, baby.
have everybody have jobs, keep Donald Trump in office, and keep himself moderately wealthy or immoderately wealthy.
There's a 1.5 minute video there that's mostly him.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting story about him because he actually started out as a kid working in the mines.
He worked in the mines, and he had been in mine accidents.
Yeah. So this is a takeaway here. Robert Murray, the self-proclaimed king of the coal industry has been replaced as CEO. Okay, the bankruptcy underscores the enormous pressure facing coal miners. It's absolutely true. Trump slashed environmental regulations and installed a former coal lobbyist to head the EPA, but the derogatory push has been overwhelmed by market forces.
There you go.
Okay, coal just can't compete. That's it in a nutshell.
That's right. And here, in our last item for the day,
Yeah.
this is an interesting
How did
picture.
that happen so quick?
Well, you know, if you don't put us up and I push the button for the thing and we go
And
to the
there
next
it is.
picture and there it is.
That's
This
an
is-
interesting plane.
It is. This is from Clean Technica.
That's an E-plane 1, and it is from from Clean Technica, and it says seaplanes get electric with Magnix, which is the motor manufacturer, and Harbor Air, which is the air taxi company.
Yeah, Harbor Air, based in Vancouver, says it is on schedule in the conversion of the world's first seaplane to E-plane. It is installing a 750 horsepower Magnix motor. This
That's
is
a
a
big motor.
750
That's a big
horsepower motor.
There's a picture of it there. And
Yeah, and connecting it to the internal systems in preparation for the first flight. Harbor Air expects to complete the test by the end of the year. Now, I want to look back at that picture, if you don't mind.
I think I can get it up again.
If you look right next to the propeller in there, you can see
a shadow picture of the
that
motor.
shadow picture is the motor.
Yep.
That thing is so small, I wouldn't want to hold it in my lap. My guess is that it would be heavy enough to be extremely uncomfortable, if not breaking legs. But
That's
it is
750 horsepower.
It's a whole lot smaller than I
quite
am.
an improvement.
Unbelievable. And there it is. Now, we actually talked about Harbor Air at least once, maybe twice before.
Yeah, we talked about it before.
They have something like 40 some odd planes.
Well, that's
and
just what they got, is 40.
They are converting all of those planes to electric. Having done the research, having done the math, they figured out that they would save a lot of money by running these planes electrically. Now,
Well, it's the maintenance and the cost of operation.
yeah.
They're paying a little bit more for the motors.
It's just like buses.
Yeah.
Electric buses cost 60% more than diesel buses.
But you don't have to fix them all the time.
That's right. So it's a very big deal.
And the power's cheaper.
And the power, everything is cheaper except the initial, cost. In this case, the airplanes that they're working on are being converted from gasoline power to
Yeah, they're
electric.
existing planes.
Yeah. So they got together with Magnix and basically figured out how are we going to convert a bunch of existing planes.
So right now, this is a prototype. They're expecting it's going to be online running by December.
Yes.
And then they're going to do all the rest of them.
Yeah. These planes have been used basically as air taxis in areas with a lot of water along the coast of...
Well, it's up by the Canadian-American border by Spokane, and
Yep.
it's all islands.
Yes.
And there's no roads, you know?
That's what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
They've got short routes.
You want to get from Spokane or Vancouver to one of those homes on the island, you got to either go by boat or by air.
That's right.
And these guys created an air taxi
That's
to
right.
do just exactly that.
Yep.
Which makes a lot of sense to me.
Yep. Okay. This is our last item for the day.
I think it
I
is.
guess it's time for
We
us
got
to
hats
say
back on.
goodnight. He's been had it on all the whole time. But I put mine back on. Come back next time. See you later.
Alligator.